Good evening. If you're joining us from a different time zone. In fact, I think that this might actually be a good question for us to start with today. Um, you'll probably be seeing a poll here. We'd like to hear where you're listening in from today as part of International Student Orientation. And as part of today's virtual orientation, we're going to do some polls here and there to learn more about your experience and make the session more interactive. Please participate as we go along. My name is Morgan Keller. I use the pronouns he, him, and his, and I serve as Assistant Director of Student Transitions and Co-Curricular Education at International Student Services, also known as ISS. My title is a mouthful, as they say, but basically a big part of my job is to work with our talented team at ISS and our colleagues across campus to support you in your transition to UW-Madison, which includes International Student Orientation, or ISO, as we call it for short. I want to thank you for being with us here virtually today. I can speak for myself, and I think my ISS colleagues as well, when I say that we always look forward to orientation because we get to finally meet you in person and welcome you into the Global Badger family. And while we all truly wish we could meet and greet you face to face today, we appreciate your flexibility and understanding that virtual orientation is. We also admire your courage and resiliency to start your program of study amidst the continuing COVID-19 pandemic and a variety of recent historic events in the US, which we will discuss later in our presentation. Before we give you an overview of today's session and do staff introductions, I'd like to go over some housekeeping items here on the next slide. And that term housekeeping, I've always thought is kind of a funny way of basically saying, here's some things to know before we talk about the important stuff. So kind of think of it as a light appetizer before the main course arrives. Today's session is specifically for F1 and J1 students who are starting their academic program at UW-Madison this spring. Change of education level and change of status students with spring 2021 start dates on their I-20 or DS 2019, spouses and family members of F1 and J1 students, and international students who already have deferred or plan to their I-20 or DS 2019 start date to fall 2021. Are also welcome to join our session. Let's see, our session is essentially scheduled for 2 hours. It includes a presentation and a Kahoot quiz that we'll be doing later. After the quiz, there's going to be members of our leadership team who will stay on and help answer your questions. We ask that you please wait until the end of the presentation to submit your question via the Q&A function in the bottom right of your screen. Because you might have your question answered during the presentation. Of course, if we're not able to answer your question today through the presentation or through the Q&A session, you can always first search for information on our website, or if you still need advising support, you can come to our virtual drop-in advising hours on a Tuesday morning or a Wednesday afternoon, or send an information request or make an appointment with your ISS assigned advisor in your Teradata portal. And finally, you might have heard earlier, but we are recording this session and we will be posting it on our new students and orientation pages for your future reference. So let's take a quick look at today's agenda for the session. We're going to start with a welcome speech from our interim director, Samantha McCabe, followed by some ISS staff introductions. Then our trio of new advisors whom you'll meet shortly will go over our office's role in supporting you, introduce your new friend, Teradata, highlight some key rules and tips for maintaining your F1 or J1 visa status, discuss travel to the US for spring semester and deferring your program start date if you're not able to arrive on time, as well as COVID-19 resources, our caseload advising model, and how to get advising support when you need it. Next, we'll introduce the virtual programs and events we have planned for spring and the various communications and platforms we use to share information with you. And then you'll get a special treat, two Global Badger alumni who currently work with us at ISS, will share some tips and resources for settling in and having a successful start to your experience at UW-Madison. As I mentioned earlier, we will wrap up with a Kahoot quiz and a Q&A session with ISS staff members helping to answer your questions. So moving on, to kick off our words of welcome, I want to say that we are so UW-Madison and hope you have arrived safely to Madison and are settling in well to your new home. We are excited to get to know you and support you throughout your academic careers and beyond. Before I pass my virtual mic over to Sam, I want to briefly share a few things about the university and Wisconsin, which you may or may not already know. Excuse me. First of all, UW-Madison has a famous mascot named Bucky Badger. You can see Bucky posing with international students in these two photos. He is always present at UW sporting events when they're happening. And a fun fact about Bucky, did you know that his full name is actually Buckingham U. Badger? You might have already noticed that at ISS, we often refer to international students as global badgers. So you are now all global badgers joining a large and diverse community of approximately 6,000 international students from more than 100 different countries. UW students sometimes make a W for Wisconsin with their hands to show school pride, like this photo of an international student with Bucky at a previous graduation celebration. And a bonus fact, this same W hand sign is also used by fans of my favorite American rock band Weezer at their live concerts. So W hand signs for both Wisconsin and Weezer, a win-win situation if you're a Wisconsin and Weezer fan like me. Another thing Wisconsin is famous for is its dairy products, especially cheese. In fact, Wisconsin is known as America's Dairyland, as you will see on license plates on vehicles. If you're a cheese lover, you've come to the best US state for it. In fact, did you know that people from Wisconsin are sometimes referred to as cheeseheads, like the hat the woman is wearing in this photo? It is a source of pride for Wisconsinites or Scotties, the people of Wisconsin. If you want to learn more fun facts about Wisconsin and UW, we have people on our staff, not me necessarily, who are native Scotties that, in addition to providing you with immigration advising or processing your requests, can tell you all about traditions like Friday night fish fry, or direct you to the best restaurant in town for fried cheese curds, or even define what a bubbler is for you. And a spoiler alert, that's Wisconsin English for drinking fountain. So moving on, I would now like to introduce our, if we go to the next slide, I'd like to introduce our fearless and tireless leader, ISS Interim Assistant Dean and Director Samantha McCabe, who is there on the left in the black polo shirt in this pre-COVID era staff photo we took back in fall 2019. Our staff has changed a bit since then, but some of us are still in that photo. Sam has been with ISS for, we think 7 years now, but honestly, we're starting to lose count. She was our rock and guiding light through a very eventful and challenging 2020 and continues to lead us now into a new chapter in 2021. In addition to supporting her staff, Sam is a fierce advocate for all international students. She's also a Badger alumna of the university's Global Higher Education Administration Master's Program. She will now share some words of welcome with you all. So please take it away, Sam.
Thank you so much, Morgan, for that wonderful intro. Those words are not what I deserve to hear this morning, but thank you so much. And really, I need to thank the staff for getting us through the tumultuous year that 2020 was. But we're here today to kick off 2021. And I am so thrilled to welcome you to University of Wisconsin-Madison this spring semester. I know some of you are on campus for the first time. Some of you might be returning after some time away. You may be studying online from home or continuing to study online from home. And wherever you are in the world or in your academic journey here at University of Wisconsin-Madison, we welcome you as Global Badgers. You are joining a community that has shown great resilience innovation, and empathy during the multiple crises that we continue to battle. And as a new student, you are now part of that community. You'll go through education programs such as our Wisconsin, where you will receive an overview of how to create an inclusive environment here for your peers, to create a welcoming, learning, and living community here at UW-Madison. You'll have opportunities to interact with student organizations that are affiliated both with ISS, or we have nearly 1,000 registered student orgs on our campus that you can meet virtually this year at our student org fair. Our ISS affiliated student organizations, you can meet some of them at our International Student Welcome and Information Fair. Again, virtually, but that goes back to the innovation of our campus community during this time. While we wish that we could be with you in person, as Morgan mentioned, this is the safest alternative for us to promote your health and safety and the health and safety of our greater Madison community. I don't want to belabor my introduction because my colleagues here also have really great things to share with you as you join us here in Madison. But I want you to know that the team here at International Student Services is here for you. You will have an assigned ISS advisor and a student peer advisor to help you navigate this new journey that you are on, especially as we started out half virtual and for some of you half in person. We are also here to help you to make those connections across campus to other resources and support networks for your time here with us as a Global Badger. So I want you to enjoy today's session, take note and bookmark some of the events that we will be sharing with you so that you will be able to participate in our programs for social connections during this time of limited in-person social interaction, opportunities for inclusion education with ISS and our campus partners, and take every opportunity for leadership and involvement advancement in your journey and whatever that looks like to you to complement your academics here at Madison. With that, I am thrilled that we now get to introduce the majority of our ISS staff here today who have gotten up early to join us on the call. So I'm going to hand it back to Morgan to get us started on some introductions, unless behind the scenes we've already got an order, which is great. But welcome to University of Wisconsin-Madison. We are so happy to have you here as a Global Badger and on Wisconsin.
Thank you so much for the warm and thoughtful words of welcome, Sam. And also, as we introduce ourselves now, we'll take turns with ISS staff. Feel free also to participate in our poll about your status as well, so we can learn more about you. So starting out with ISS staff introductions, let's go alphabetically and start with Sabrine, whose last name is Ali.
Hi, everyone. Good morning or good night, depending where you are. My name is Sabrine Ali. I use the pronouns she, her, and hers. My role at ISS, so I am one of the ISS advisors. So whoever falls on my caseload, I look forward to meeting you. I also look forward to being your advisor as well. And then my other role, I coordinate the Bridge program, which is an international peer mentorship program through International Student Services. Right now, it's still on hold for this semester because of COVID and everything going on, but we'll be working hard to bring it back for next semester, fall 2021. So I look forward to seeing you there when we have restarted. In terms of where I've grown up, so I was born in Wisconsin, but fun fact, my parents were once international students. So a couple places that I lived in Jordan for several years when I was younger, then I lived in Panama for several years when I was younger before moving back to the US. I've traveled around the Middle East. I've been to several countries in Europe. And one of my favorite countries I've been to so far is Trinidad and Tobago. Overall, I love tropical weather compared to this Wisconsin weather, so I feel bad for all of you that are experiencing this for the first time. Don't worry, brighter days are ahead. The sunniest days are actually the coldest days, just as a tip for you. So I look forward to meeting you, whether that is virtually or someday in person. Welcome.
Hello, Global Badgers. This is Dong Chen. I use she, her, hers pronouns. My role at ISS, so I work both as an ISS assistant, supporting the administrative operation, and I also coordinate the International Student Advisory Board, which we will talk a little bit more later. So a fun fact about me is I am originally from China, a city called Wenzhou that locates in the southeast part of the country, which is not too far away from Taiwan. And Wenzhou is famous for its like seafood culture and also the business culture. For the language I speak, is my like home language, and I also speak English and Russian. See all of you, and I look forward to working with you all.
Hi all. Sorry, couldn't remember my alphabet for a minute. My name is Kathleen Finnegan, so I am the programming coordinator at International Student Services, and I also support our students who are on STEM OPT. So I am originally from Kansas, but I have worked in 6 states at this point, so I like to bounce around and get to explore my own country as well as others. I studied abroad in Germany a few times in my studies. And then, you know, other countries just for the interest and the exploration. I also speak English and German because of my background and my education. And then fun fact about me is I really enjoy baking. I find that it's a stress relieving outlet, and I have a dog. So for those of you who join us for virtual events or drop-in advising, you might see him pop in the background or hear him in the background as he is sometimes expressive in his noises. So I'll let the next person go.
Hi, good morning, good evening, everyone. My name is Helen Holtz. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I am one of the new ISS advisors. So I just moved to Madison last month, so similar to you all, experiencing winter and snow to start my journey here off. But I'm originally from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, so the neighboring state, about 6 hours away from a small town on Lake Superior. Regarding my travels or languages, I lived and worked in Spain, so I was once fluent in Spanish. Not so much anymore, but still love that country. And then I used to travel as a recruiter for a past institution, so from that I got to visit China, India, and Thailand. It's great to be here.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mina House. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I am one of 3 ISS assistants in the office, and my role is to help manage the front desk, along with processing some of the paperwork you submit as an international student to our office. Like Morgan said, there are a few staff who are originally from Wisconsin, and I am one of them. I'm from Oshkosh, Wisconsin, which is about 2 hours north of Madison. And I spent my undergrad, a part of my undergrad, studying in China, specifically in Ningbo, China. So my second language is Mandarin Chinese. It's nice to meet everyone today.
Hello, everyone. My name is Colleen Hutchinson. I use the pronoun she, her, and her, and I am an interim assistant director here at ISS. So for me, that means I get to help advise a lot of our J1 students as well as supervise a lot of our great staff. So I look forward to helping you in that semester. For me, I did not grow up in Wisconsin. I actually grew up in New York, but maybe not the New York you're thinking of. I grew up probably closer to Niagara Falls, if you know where Niagara Falls is on the map. So probably closer to Canada than actual New York City. So I had a great childhood there. I went to school in New York for my undergraduate, and then I lived abroad for a year getting my master's degree at the University of Limerick in Ireland. So I also did a semester abroad over the summer in Spain as well, like some of our other colleagues. So I also proficient in Spanish, but maybe not so much anymore. So it's great to meet you all.
Hello, everyone. My name is Amy Minot, and I use she, her, hers pronouns. And my role at ISS is an international student advisor. So I hope that I get to have a conversation with many of you. If you need some help, I would be happy to assist you during drop-in advising, or if you're in my caseload through an appointment. I also work on processing. So if you submit a request, as many of us do, we'll assist you with processing those requests through Teradata as well. Home for me is Cleveland, Ohio. It's a middle-sized city on the shores of Lake Erie. And it's a wonderful place. I hope you all get a chance to visit when travel becomes available to us. I have lived and worked in Mexico, Costa Rica, Thailand, Myanmar, and the former Soviet Republic of Georgia, and had wonderful opportunities to travel in each of those regions as well. I look forward to meeting you and hope that you will feel welcome and warmed by myself and the wonderful colleagues here at ISS.
Hi everyone, my name is Melissa Murray. I use she, her, hers pronouns, and I'm another one of the advisors at ISS. So part of my role is advising international students in my caseload. So if you're an education major, I'll probably be your advisor. And then another part of my role is coordinating the International Reach Cross-Cultural Speakers Program, and that is an opportunity for international students to kind of share their culture with the Madison community. I won't go into more depth because I have a couple of slides later on to tell you about Reach. I am another native Wisconsinite, so people from Wisconsin are called Wisconsinites. It's kind of a funny word, but you might hear that when you're here. And I grew up about an hour and a half from Madison, so I'm pretty close to home. If you have any Wisconsin questions, I love to share fun facts about our state, so definitely ask me. I've traveled quite a bit around the world and visited a lot of different regions. I really love to travel, as most of us do. And I did spend a few months living in Poland and teaching English for a summer. I can say that my Polish is very, very beginner level, so I'd be happy to practice, but I probably won't understand too much. And I also speak French and Spanish. It's really nice to meet you all.
Hi everyone, my name is Dylan Reister. I use she, her, and hers pronouns. I'm also an international student advisor. So as Amy described perfectly, we'll be doing processing paperwork. I'll have a caseload of students and seeing students through virtual drop-in advising. And I look forward to meeting a lot of you there or hopefully in person soon. So I have studied abroad a couple times in Austria and Germany. I consider German my second language, but like others have said, it might need a little bit of practice at this point. Previously, I actually worked as a study abroad advisor as well, so helping students leave the US. But I'm excited to be here with ISS and welcome you all today.
Hello, everyone. My name is Prem Tipsaki, so you can call me Prem. I use the pronouns she, her, hers. And as you can see that, of course, I am one of international student advisor here. If you are engineering student, I will be your ISS assigned advisor. So welcome you all to our lovely ISS and UW-Madison and of course, Wisconsin. I grew up in Bangkok, Thailand, and of course I speak Thai and English. I was once an international student in Australia. I love travel and I have been to many countries, 30 plus countries. So maybe one of your countries might be on my to-do list in the future. After this crazy pandemic, I was working at the US Embassy in Bangkok. And then when I moved here 10 years ago, I started my first job at the English Second Language. And I feel like, man, I would love to support international students because I was once there and know how you feel. So feel free to let me know, contact me if you need any support. We are here to help you. I'm Wisconsin.
Hi everyone, my name is Yuriko Sato. I use she, her, hers pronouns. I'm also an ISS assistant. I was born and raised in Sendai, the northern part of Japan. I have studied abroad in Canada, US, and Beijing, China. I have worked in Macau, China, and many parts of Southeast Asia like Indonesia. I speak Japanese, English, and a little bit of Chinese. Nice to meet you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone from ISS for your introductions. Unfortunately, one of our ISS staff members, who some of you will get to know, Stacy Woodward, one of our advisors who is also a Wisconsinite from northern Wisconsin, is having Wi-Fi connectivity problems this morning, so she's not here to do her introduction. But just wanted to share that. Hopefully she can join us later. Excuse me. And then also two other key members of our team who are not with us this morning. Jackie Bormet is an administrative assistant who helps with our change of major, change of educational level, and OPT update processes. And Cameron Millard is our IT support wizard who's not here with us. If you'd like to learn more about us or the amazing student workers that also work for ISS, our peer advisors and student workers working in different areas, please check out our Meet the Staff page. And now, without further ado, I want to pass the virtual mic over to Helen, who will get us started with the next part of our presentation.
Thanks, Morgan, and hello again, Global Badgers, and it's great to have so many of you here on the call today, and then I know more of you will be watching the recording. In this first section, we are going to cover more about ISS and our virtual services, some basics of maintaining status and some US laws, as well as travel and COVID-19 information. So I know that's a lot, and some of them will be covered very quickly, but there's more content on the website and the resources that we share. And you can always come back and rewatch or ask questions at the end with the Q&A. So on this slide, we are talking about a few things that ISS does and then does not do. So on that left-hand side, we are here to advise you on your options. Rules and regulations maintaining your visa status can be complicated, and we're here to demystify and help you understand what those are and how to maintain your status. As folks mentioned in the introductions, we also do a lot of paperwork processing to help you utilize some of those benefits of your student visa, whether that be working, getting an SSN, travel and entry, and more. We also run programs and events to help you acclimate to campus, get involved in student life, and make the most of your experience here. And we'll go into a lot of those in a later part of this presentation as well. And then lastly, outside of the work that we do with you directly across campus, we are always supporting and advocating for the international student community, just to have a really amazing experience here at the University of Wisconsin. Some things that we do not do. We don't tell you exactly what to do. So your student visa status is ultimately yours to maintain, not only as your time here, but if you transition to other schools other visa statuses, things like that. So we help guide you and explain those rules, but ultimately what you do or do not do is your responsibility. We also do not make those immigration rules, right? So those come from the federal government, and we just help, guide you through those. So we don't get to make those rules. We guide those. We also do not work for any of those government agencies. So we're not the consulate issuing you visas. We're not CBP allowing you entry into the US. We're not USCIS processing a lot of those employment authorizations and other applications. And then lastly, there are many other offices on campus that are here to support you, and you will get to know them as well. So you'll have an academic advisor to choose your classes. You'll have the bursar's office that works with billing and tuition payments. And then you'll have career services offices across campus to help you with that career advising. So those are some other offices that will support you as well. On the next slide, we will introduce Teradata, which is the International Student Portal that you are going to use and contact ISS through, as well as process and send in a lot of paperwork. So the way you can access that is through your My UW. If you haven't already, you just search for the name Teradata, and then you can add it to your homepage for easy access later on. As I mentioned, you will use this to submit a lot of the forms to us so that we can process them. We use information requests, which is basically our version of an email. So that's how you can send an email to your assigned advisor. You can also make appointments with your advisor through there and read some important announcements. And then on the next slide, so one of the first things that you will do in Teradata is complete international student orientation and check-in. You must complete this by Tuesday, February 9th. And this is very important and required so that ISS can register your immigration record in CVIS and start your F4J program off on a good note. There are many modules with much more information than you'll have today. You can see some of the topics there. A lot of things to help you really get started on a good note, such as understanding your student health insurance, maintaining mental health, using our website, and some spring 2021 guidance. This does take some time. It can take up to 2 hours to complete, so make sure you set aside about 2 hours to get that done. And again, it is due by Tuesday, February 9th for all new students, with the exception of if you are a student that may be starting your academic career outside of the US. So if you've chosen not to come to the US and Madison at this time because of the pandemic, you do not need to complete ISO and check-in. And I do see the poll here. So we did already have some students complete this. That's really great. And then we have some that haven't yet completed it. So you still do have some time.
Thanks, Helen. That was really interesting information for our new students to learn about. So next, we're going to talk about a few things that you need to know in order to make sure that you are fulfilling your responsibility as an international student here. So the first thing we need to talk about is enrolling full-time. And I have up here listed the ways that you as an international student must maintain full-time enrollment. So if you're an undergraduate student, it means that you need to be registered for 12 credits in the spring and fall semester. If you're a graduate student, that means that you need to be registered for 8 credits in the spring and fall semester, unless you have a TA or PA assistantship associated with your program. And in that case, those are listed below. 33% means you only have to take 6 credits, 50%, 4 credits. But do keep in mind that you must maintain full-time status as a responsibility as an international student. There's one exception, which is that if you need to ask for a reduced course load, you must have approval for that. So if for some reason you cannot maintain full-time status at 12 or 8 credits, come and talk to us right away so that we can help guide you through the process of applying for and gaining approval for a reduced course load. And you'll do that through Teradata. Right now, a lot of things are different because of COVID-19. So many students have questions about whether they need to enroll online or in person. For this semester, during spring 2021, you are required to have 1 credit with an in-person requirement, and hybrid courses are accepted for this. When things get back to normal, in pre-COVID times, the rules looked a little bit different. F1 students have a limit of only 1 online course per semester, which means that in normal times, most of your classes will be in person and only 1 class is allowed to be online. If you're on a J visa, you are not allowed to have any online courses counted towards your full-time enrollment. So for this semester, 1 credit in person is required, and in normal times, after COVID, we expect to go back to the normal limits of only 1 online course being allowed for F students and none for J visa students. Next slide, please. In addition to keeping up your legal status by enrolling full-time, there's also some legal things you need to know about US law. I know it's not fun to talk about these things, but we do think it's important for you to be aware of them. So first of all, let's talk about alcohol. You may know that the legal age to purchase or consume alcohol in the United States is 21. It is also illegal to give alcohol to anyone who is under 21. Public intoxication is also may result in your arrest, so please be aware of how you're consuming alcohol. Drunk driving or getting behind the wheel of a car while you are intoxicated is also a very serious offense in the United States. It is a violation of your visa. It could result in your arrest. Your driving license could be permanently revoked, and you may face fines, penalties, and even jail time. Again, I can't reiterate enough that this is a very serious issue in the United States, so please be aware of this. In Wisconsin, the legal age for tobacco or e-cigarettes is also 21, and it's also illegal to purchase those for others who are under the age of 21. Marijuana is not legal in Wisconsin. You may have heard from friends in other places that the United States has laws that differ from state to state. Marijuana is always against federal law, but some states have legalized or decriminalized it, like our neighboring states of Illinois and Michigan. You should be aware, though, that it is against federal law to transport in between states or to consume marijuana in Wisconsin. Other drugs are also illegal in the United States and against federal law. One other thing that international students may need to know is that any kind of violence in the United States can be treated as a major offense. So fighting or domestic abuse could lead to your arrest, penalties, or jail time. We really recommend that you make yourself aware of all of the laws that affect international students and all citizens of the United States. If you have questions about US laws, we recommend that you contact the UW Police Department. There's a non-emergency phone line that we'll share with you on our website, and you can contact them if you have questions. We also want you to know that on one of our Global Badger Success Fridays, we'll have a virtual session with one of our University of Wisconsin police officers. It's a great guy named Officer Barrett, and we call him Bear for short. So he'll help you understand what laws apply to you and all of us and how we can maintain a safe environment here at UW-Madison. Next slide. As we're talking about ways that you can maintain your status, there are 8 rules that you really need to follow. So we recommend that you commit these to memory. They're listed in lots of different places, and if you ever have a question, you can come and talk to an advisor, and we'll help you learn how these apply to you. So first of all, you're already doing one of those steps. So you need to complete orientation and check-in. This is due February 9th, so make sure you set aside some time in your calendar to accomplish this before February 9th. Then, as I mentioned before, you need to enroll full-time. The add-drop deadline, or the deadline for registering for full-time credits, is February 5th, so make sure you mark that date on your calendar as well. Then, you need to maintain your valid immigration documents. For us here today, for F and J visa holders, that means your I-20 or your DS 2019, your passport, which must have at least 6 months of validity from the time that you plan to be in the United States, and a visa that's valid for re-entry. Once you're here, now in the United States, that I-20 document is also going to be used for a travel signature. So before you plan to leave Madison and travel internationally again, make sure that you complete a Teradata I-20 reprint request. This will allow us to give you a new I-20 with a travel signature so that you'll have it ready when you re-enter the United States. Number 5 is very important, and we'll talk about this at several points throughout your time at UW-Madison. You are only allowed to work with authorization. There's a whole section of our website dedicated to your employment options, and I've listed the website here. I recommend that you take some time and look at this early on in your career so that you can plan for your employment throughout your time in Madison. If you move, as most undergraduate students and graduate students do a few times while they're here, this means moving from one apartment to another apartment up the street, changing roommates. You need to let us know where you're physically living within 10 days of when you move. You can do this by updating your UW personal space. Number 7 reminds us that we have to all follow the US laws and university policies, like some of those I mentioned in the previous slide. And then finally, when your program ends, you need to respect the grace period of your lawful presence in the United States after your program ends. So start making plans during your final year and final semester so that you'll know whether you're going to depart the US right after you finish your program, apply for work authorization, so-called OPT, or begin a new academic program. So these are the 8 key rules for maintaining your visa status. And if you ever have questions, make sure to talk to an advisor so that you know how it applies to your situation. And that brings us to our next tips for maintaining status. So a lot of us have told you today, and will continue to tell you throughout your time here, that maintaining status is your responsibility. Every student has their own responsibility for their own visa status. We're here to help you understand the rules and guide you and tell you what your options are, but ultimately you are in the driver's seat of your own status. So make sure that you're paying attention and applying each rule to your own specific situation. So here's some ways you can do that. First, announcements. We'll be sending you announcements through your whisk mail. I hope you've all logged in and already been getting familiar with your whisk mail system. It's important to check this several times a week because important information will reach you via your whisk mail. Second, pay attention. What are we up to in ISS? There are several ways that you can check and see what we're trying to tell you. We have our website, we send out newsletters, and again, we'll use whisk mail. Make sure that you're checking these things often. If any changes happen, we'll make sure that you're aware of them, but you need to be paying attention. Awareness. Awareness means how does your status influence the things that you're doing here on campus. So you need to be thinking about the application of all of these discussion points to your own status. Ask questions if you are unsure about how any of these things may affect you. We have a whole team of very friendly advisors that are more than happy to help you with any questions you may have. And then finally, once we've given you advice, you've thought about your situation and know what to do, then you need to take action. So what do you need to do? And finally, when do you need to do it in order to maintain your status? I hope that these tips will help you as you think about how you're going to maintain your status while you're in your program. That's it for me, and now I'm going to hand it over to Dylan. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy, for these important updates and the information to help our students maintain their status. So recently, we have been receiving a lot of questions from students about whether or not it's okay to arrive to the US after spring semester class starts. To clarify, ISS recommends that you are here by the start of classes, which is Monday, January 25th. U.S. Customs and Border Protection, or CBP, expects you to arrive by the start date listed on your I-20 or DS-2019. They decide whether or not you are given permission to enter the U.S. at port of entry. Therefore, again, we are recommending that you do arrive by the start of classes, but you might be allowed to enter late with a support letter or email from instructors confirming that your late arrival won't have an impact on your academic progress. If you choose to risk this and you are arriving later than January 25th, you'll also want to keep in mind that deadline to drop classes of February 5th, which Amy previously mentioned. This is the deadline for getting a 100% tuition refund. So just keep that in mind, that if you are going to take the risk and arrive later, that deadline of February 5th is there to receive a 100% tuition refund. Some important information before you travel. You can check our website and search travel on the ISS website specifically. We have some document information there, and one of them is the personalized spring 2021 travel support letter, which you can request through Teradata. It's important to request this letter early if you are still arriving to the US, because it could take up to 48 hours to receive this letter through Teradata. We also encourage students to check the travel advisories at cdc.gov. It's important to check the US travel advisories, your home countries, or any countries that you have layovers in to make sure that you're able to arrive to the US and get here safely. Also check with your airline to see if there's any policies or information regarding COVID-19 or anything that will be helpful for you to know if you still have not arrived in the US. So what if you can't enter the US in time for spring semester? What should you do? We recommend contacting your UW-Madison admitting unit to update your I-20 or DS-2019 program start date to the semester that you're going to defer to. You can also choose to take all online classes at a future date, or come to the US and have that be your start date on your new I-20 or DS-2019. If you already started your academic program online in fall 2020 and wish to defer your I-20 or DS-2019 for a future semester, ISS will then update your I-20 or DS-2019 and reprint it so that you have it to use in order to obtain your visa. We ask that you complete a leave of absence request through Teradata to let us know that you are deferring again or continuing classes from online and plan on arriving in a future semester. Next slide, please. So it's important to pay attention to the COVID situation that's happening around the world. The health, wellness, and safety of our students, staff, and community are our highest priority, and therefore we continue to provide updates for students on our website. So if you go to the ISS homepage, all the way to the right on the furthest tab, you'll see our ISS COVID-19 updates page. Continue to follow this site as well as the UW-Madison COVID-19 response page. Please monitor this closely to find out information that the campus has provided for you, along with information about the testing requirements. There are a lot of testing requirements in order for you to come to campus and enter campus buildings. So again, follow that website to figure out things such as how to get tested, where campus testing sites are located, how to schedule your tests, and etc. COVID testing on campus is free for you, so please definitely take advantage of this as you are planning to come to campus. It's also important to mention the Safer Badgers app. This app is the official COVID-19 app for UW-Madison. It provides pandemic resources to support the community's health and safety. So through this app, you will schedule your COVID tests. You can view your test results, receive notifications about potential exposures. You can even report any symptoms that you have and more. The app is downloadable through the US app stores of Google Play or the Apple App Store. But again, that has to be in the US. So if you don't have access to that, you can borrow an app or borrow a device that has the app pre-installed. So again, go to that COVID response website to find out more information regarding that. In addition to borrowing a device, you might be able to change the region of your Apple ID to access that US App Store. Okay, next slide, please. And I'm going to start this slide by opening up another poll. This is going to be information about our advising caseload model. So what is a caseload model? Basically, this is the model that we've adapted of how students are assigned to specific advisors. The assignments are based on your college, school, and major. So if you visit our website and go to Find My Advisor, you will be able to access Teradata to then search and figure out who exactly is assigned to your school or college or major. You can use, once you know who your advisor is, you can use Teradata then to schedule those information requests and schedule appointments. But it's important to note when you request things such as an I-20 reprint, a reduced course load, or any other types of tasks that you might need, it might not be your ISS advisor who is processing those tasks. It might be another member on the ISS team. So that being said, if you submit a request for an I-20 reprint, for example, it doesn't help to message your specific ISS advisor asking about the status of that request. It could be anybody on our team who is processing that, and receiving all those information requests actually just slows our process down. So keep in mind, it takes up to 15 business days to process those requests. Might not be your specific advisor processing it. So we just ask that you plan ahead and be patient as we work through all the various requests that we're receiving from students each day. We try to get those done sooner than within that 15 business days, but again, please allow that 15 business days for those tasks to be processed. In addition to having your assigned ISS peer advisor, you also, or professional ISS staff member advisor, you also will have a peer advisor. A peer advisor is a UW-Madison student who is on the ISS team. They're there to provide administrative and advising support to you as the student, as well as to our staff. It's important to note, though, that they are not immigration advisors and do not have access to the SEVIS portal like the ISS staff members do. So please don't be emailing them for immigration questions or things like that. They, again, are just here to support you as students as well as our ISS team. All right, and it looks like the poll has completed. Thank you to those who have responded. Back to you, Helen.
All right, thanks, Amy and Dylan. So this is wrapping up our first section. We have much more to come. And you might be starting to have some questions or wondering how you can contact ISS. So on this page, we're kind of going over the 4 steps and the process you can go through. Step 1 is always definitely to check our website. We update that very regularly, and it is, us as the staff who are writing that information on there. So it's accurate and up to date, and it has a lot of information about all the different rules and regulations and forms and authorizations. So there's a whole lot of information on there, and that's always the best first place to go to look for an answer to a question you have. Step 2, if it's about a specific process or a request form, you can go into Teradata and start looking at that form and see what it requires and it's asking of you. So you might find out what you need to do to complete the process just by starting it in Teradata. Step 3, if you still can't figure it out and still are unsure, you can again send an information request, which is essentially an email through Teradata. Or if you have more questions or want to talk something through, You can also set up an appointment with your assigned ISS advisor, and both of those things are done through Teradata. Step 4, or another option, is to come to our virtual drop-in advising. We hold that on Zoom 2 times a week, Tuesday mornings and Wednesday afternoons. So that's another way that you can meet with any one of our advisors and get some of those quick questions answered if you haven't found the answers elsewhere. On the right-hand side, we did want to share a picture of the Red Gym, which is where our office is located in normal times. But again, as you'll see in our backgrounds, all of us staff are working from home currently, and we are providing all of the support to you virtually. But someday we will be back on campus. And with that, we will turn it over to Kathleen, who will start the section on spring semester programs and communication platforms.
Thanks, Helen. Yeah, so welcome all. We touched on a lot of the maintaining your immigration status, and now we're going to go into how you can get involved in the campus experience, even if that is virtually this semester. So starting us off next week on January 27th, which is Wednesday, ISS will host a focused student organization fair on the Wisconsin Involvement Network. This is a platform where students can go and search all of the over 1,000 student organizations that are on campus. It's kind of like a social media site where you can log in, see an org's profile, get to meet their student organizations. So the fair will be hosted on WIN. WIN is only for students, so you will have to log in using your NetID and password. But if you follow that link on the bottom of the page, you can RSVP and save the event on your calendar. You can log in, and then you can actually, during the event, go in and click and meet the different groups in like virtual tables. So one of them might have a Zoom platform set up, so you can go and like actually see people through your webcam cover and ask them questions about the student organizations and events that they're holding, how to sign up to be a member. So we will do our mini org fair because we'll probably only have 15 to 20 organizations, nice and targeted. You'll be able to meet everyone within 2 hours, and then the university will do a much larger organization fair in the same structure early in February. The next one is the Global Badger Social Hour. So these will be on Fridays, and we will alternate weeks. So the first one will be next Friday, so in a week, January 29th at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, for those of you who are not in Wisconsin. And it really is just meant to be a way for students to connect with other students. So we will have it on Zoom. You can log in, and then we will probably do breakout rooms, so you don't have to worry about like speaking in front of a massive group. It can just be a few people to really introduce yourselves, get to know other students. Maybe you meet another international student who's in your same major. Maybe you all are taking the same classes, so you can start those conversations. Or maybe all of you love the same television show, right? Maybe all of you are big fans of the US version of The Office. Well, that's wonderful, right? And then we can start those interest groups and just get a way to build and maintain that fun time that you'd be able to have usually hanging out in the union, but we just aren't able to do right now.
I will jump in with Global Badger Success Fridays. I'm very excited to announce this new series that is especially for you as new students come to UW-Madison. This is a series that we're going to be having every Friday from 11 a.m. to noon via Zoom, starting Friday, February 5th. And it's really a chance for you to learn about different offices and resources on campus and how you can use them in your transition and to be successful. And so you can see here some of the topics we're going to be covering, but our first session, for example, is going to be with SuccessWorks office, and that will focus on job and internship searching. and there'll be ISS staff members who will also go over some of the details of how you get employment authorization as F1 and J1 visa holders. But there'll be other sessions, health and well-being, leadership and involvement, writing and language support, as Amy mentioned earlier, a session with UW-PD. So I just really encourage you to join us on Fridays from 11 a.m. to noon for Global Badger Success Fridays.
All right, and I'll pop back in. So Global Cafe is another series that ISS hosts, but we collaborate with our international affiliated student organizations. And so basically every other Tuesday, beginning on February 2nd from 6:30 to 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, we will have presentations and interactive activities done by a variety of groups. So our first one is actually a collaboration with the Reach Cross-Cultural Speakers Program, where they will come in and do a presentation for us. But in the past, this has also included cooking demonstrations or learning traditional games from other cultures. We had one, the Indonesian Student Association last semester gave us a tour of Indonesia and the places that we should visit for, if we were in Indonesia for 10 days for a vacation. Let me tell you, that made that country on my bucket list, absolutely doing that. So it's a lot of fun, great ways to get to know students, or if you're interested in learning about new cultures, this is an excellent opportunity for that as well.
Let me jump back in and talk a little bit about the PEACE program, which is an acronym for Practicing English and Cultural Exchange. This is ISS's free and casual English conversation class. We're going to be alternating this program with Global Cafe on Tuesday evenings, also starting at 6:30 and going to 8 o'clock for 90-minute sessions. It's open to international students like yourselves, as well as visiting scholars. If you have spouses or friends, even if they're US American friends, they're welcome to join as well. But a big focus of our conversations is really learning about one another's cultures through the diversity of the class, and also learning about US culture. It's a great way to make connections with other people, and this semester I'm excited to be working with Amy from our team, who, like myself, has many years of experience teaching English as a foreign language in other countries. So please join us for PEACE. As I like to say, give PEACE a chance. And then for this next program, another one that I want to talk just a little bit about. Every semester, the last few semesters, ISS has been working closely with our mental health services colleagues. One of our wonderful ambassador over there, you can see in this photo, her name is Wei Chao Shu, and she is a mental health provider there. We are going to continue our series here in spring. It will be a bi-weekly series starting on Monday, February 8th from 5 to 6 p.m. Via Zoom. But essentially in our sessions, we are really, offering this as a safe conversation space between our two offices and wanting to really give international students an opportunity to share some of their experiences and stories, especially with this backdrop of the pandemic and all the challenges that we're all experiencing. I think it's going to be a great opportunity to get tips and learn strategies to stay healthy and achieve success. There's a variety of topics we've already outlined for our sessions this semester. Some of those include different ways of maintaining self-care during the pandemic. So a lot of those challenges like homesickness and loneliness and stress and anxiety, and sometimes feeling like you don't belong here, that what we call imposter syndrome. Also how we can turn failures into successes. These are all some of the different topics we'll be discussing. So please look for more information about this series on our event calendar, and it will also be included in our newsletters that we'll be sending out to you every week. We hope you can join us.
Hi everyone, it's Melissa again. I just wanted to share a little bit about International Reach, which is another one of the programs that ISS offers for international students. Hopefully you've already heard about a couple of things you might want to join. This is another thing you can get involved in. So International Reach is a cross-cultural speakers program where international students can volunteer to be part of the program. And the students in the program then have opportunities to share their culture and their experiences with other departments or groups at UW-Madison and also the Madison community. And so the way it works is we get a request from a campus or community group, and then we try our best to match that request with students in our program. It's a really great way to be able to share your culture and experience and also learn about other aspects of Madison that you might not see if you only stay on campus. So if that sounds interesting, there's a little bit more information on our website. And this year we have a set group of ambassadors that have applied and that kind of represent Reach. So if you want to learn more about the students in the program currently, you can check out our website. And another part of Reach is also training socials. So twice a semester we have an event called a training social where the students in the program get together to get to know each other, build some community, and we also always have like an educational activity or opportunity to develop a new skill or learn something that will help you in Reach and hopefully beyond Reach in your life or your academics as well. Yeah, so we'll have lots of good discussions if you decide to join. You can go to the next slide if you want. Thanks. Okay, so if you're interested in getting involved with Reach, right now we are not accepting applications for this semester, but for the fall we will be. So if you want to learn a little more, you can attend an open presentation. Some of our students might be giving presentations that are open for others to learn about their culture experience, so you can check those out. And you can also follow us on social media to hear more about our programs or learn fun facts about different cultures. And then if you have any questions, definitely email the Reach account, which is, I think it's listed on our website. So if you visit the ISS website, you'll be able to find that. And then after all of that, if you think you might want to be an ambassador, then you can keep an eye out for our social media so you can learn about when the applications are open for the fall.
Thanks, Melissa, and hello again, Global Badgers. It's Dawn. The International Student Advisory Board, or ISAB for short, is an initiative we started last year to build a bridge between international students and ISS at UW-Madison. There have been 9 international students on the board this year. Our students come from diverse backgrounds, and we serve for the unique needs of international students as we work to create a more inclusive and globally engaged environment. If you are interested in learning more about how to advocate for international student needs, engage with other students and ISS to advocate international student interests, and develop effective communication skills and leadership skills during this process, you are welcome to apply to be a part of our new cohort. ISAB 2021 to 2022 cohort application is opening soon. If you are interested in joining us, please come visit us at the ISS Organization Fair next Wednesday, or come to our Global Badger Success Friday session. You can also read more about ISAB on our website, which you can access via ISS Get Involved page. The link is listed here on the slide, along with the ISAB's email address.
Great. Thank you, Dawn, for talking about ISAB. Great opportunity. I want to talk a little bit about our longstanding partner community organization, Madison Friends of International Students, or MFIS as we call it for short. They are a great group of people, volunteers who support international students, scholars, and their families through a variety of wonderful programs. Here in January, traditionally they offer something they call the Capital Reception downtown, which is a welcome event for new UW-Madison international students like yourselves. However, due to the pandemic, this event and a lot of their other programs have been temporarily suspended, including their homestay program. Some other events and programs that they hope to continue is their welcome picnic in August for new students, their Thanksgiving hospitality event in November, their English classes, and their free furniture program, which is also great if you just moved here and are needed of furniture. And then the one program that they are offering right now is their Global Friends program. And I happen to know that they have many volunteers and they need more international students to participate. So if you're interested in making a new friend in the Madison community, please sign up for the Global Friends program. You can do that on their website, which is mfismadison.org.
Great. So I know we've talked about a lot of events right now, and you might be wondering, where can I go to find more information or the link to join? Or I remember something about a Success Friday, but I can't remember what exactly was going on. So here is a close-up image of the ISS homepage, right, on the website. So if you look at that third drop-down menu, the Get Involved section, if you click on that top button, Get Involved, that will bring you to a whole main page where you can go to the ISEP page and learn about them. You can go to Reach and see if their application to join for next semester is open. You can click on MFIS and learn how to sign up for their Global Friends program. Or if you click on that second option, the event calendar, you will be able to see the full month events of everything that is going on, and then click into each day or each event and get the direct link to join all of our programs, to read more about the topics that will be involved with some of our series that change each week, and also information if you need to request accommodations and you need support in attending any of these events. All right, so moving on to more information about communications and how to get information.
Yeah, let me share a little bit about our communications, because we have a lot of different types of communications that you will be receiving. One thing we're excited for here in spring is our newsletter. Traditionally, we've had one newsletter that we brought back last year, and it was pretty comprehensive and a longer newsletter. This semester, we're trying something new. We're going to be creating two newsletters. One of them is going to really be focused more on immigration and advising services and Teradata, and helping you understand the rules and the latest news in terms of your F1 or J1 visa. So that will be important reading. And then the other newsletter is going to be more focused on all the other great things that are going on. So a lot of these programs we just introduced to you, we're going to have a section that's focused on your health and well-being and those kinds of resources, as well as your success, your academic success, your career success, planning for the future, these kinds of things. Both of these newsletters will alternate and be bi-weekly. So basically that means every Friday you're going to get a newsletter from ISS. So please take the time to read it. Yuriko Sato and I and others will be working on this project, really putting time and thought into it. So we hope that it's helpful to you, and you can always give us feedback if you'd like to see changes in it. And then other methods of communication, we use announcements. There are announcements that are posted on our homepage. So when you're on our homepage, if you scroll to the bottom of the homepage, there's usually the most recent kind of important announcement. So if you're ever on our homepage, I recommend checking those out, as well as our quick links. And then we also post announcements in Teradata, but we will also be sending you periodically emails directly from us, and usually those emails are very important information, reminders or things that you need to take action on. So please, I know right now you're you might already be burnt out with the virtual fatigue, but please take the time to read our emails, because they often require action. And then one other thing, I encourage you to follow us on our social media sites, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. At the bottom of any of our pages on the website, you can find links to connect with us there. But we do post a lot of information. It could be immigration related, or it could be about programs or holidays or cultural observances. So that's another great way to stay connected with us. And I think to kind of end this section of our presentation, we posted a poll here about which programs, events, and or organizations are you most interested in getting involved with this semester. You can select more than one option for this poll, so please participate. We'd love to hear what is of interest to you. I'm not sure if Stacy is back online.
Yes, I made it back.
Well, welcome back, Stacy. Did you want to quickly introduce yourself?
Sure, I can do that. Hi, everyone. My name is Stacy Woodward. I'm one of the advisors here at ISS. And yeah, I'm originally from Wisconsin. Sorry I wasn't able to make it this morning, but I'm looking forward to getting to know all of you. And with that, I will go ahead and share my screen. Okay, can you all see the PowerPoint?
Looks great, Stacy.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, we should be all set.
Hi, Global Badgers. It's Dawn again. For this part, Eureka and I will be talking about things we wish we could have known before the school starts to help you better prepared for the new semester. To share a little bit about my personal journey, before I started working at ISS as a full-time staff, I was also a Global Badger at UW-Madison, studied in the master's program, Global Higher Education. And today, for this part, like by talking about things that Eureka and I both as international alumni that we wish we could and some experience of us, we want to share them with you, help you better prepared for Wisconsin experience and be more successful as you start. Please note that the information and resources we are going to share here are what you can expect to experience during your program period at UW-Madison. However, due to COVID-19, the incoming spring 2021 semester might look quite different than usual. With all these changes, we encourage you all to stay tuned for the campus operation in spring 2021 and make most out of your time here. And before we start, Eureka, would you like to introduce yourself to our new Global Badgers?
Yes, thank you, Dawn. Hello again, you Global Badgers. My name is Yuriko, and I'm also an ISS assistant here at UW-Madison. I am from Japan and also a Global Badger alumna of the Global Higher Education Administration Master's Program. Welcome to the Global Badger family.
Thank you, Yuriko. And before we start this section of the presentation, we have another poll for you. This time, we would like to ask, is this your first time studying abroad in the US? Okay, looks like the poll has been completed. Thank you all for filling out it. I see that for many of you, this is your first time studying here in the US. Yuriko and I hope the information and advice we shared in the next few slides will be helpful to you as you settle into your new home here in Madison. Next slide, please. To start with, campus involvement. With more than 45,000 students representing 50 states and 134 countries, our community is diverse, energetic, and constantly in motion. Involvement takes many forms at UW-Madison and has countless benefits. Every opportunity has the potential to help you to learn new skills and develop as an individual. According to my personal experience studying at UW-Madison, and by discussing with some international and domestic students, multiple involvement opportunities into 3 categories: academic life, social life, and career life. Firstly, academic life. Make appointments with your academic advisor to talk about course options and address academic problems or concerns. Seek for assistance from writing center staff and the librarian while you are working on becoming a more effective and confident scholar. And explore diverse spaces around campus, including different libraries, cafes, and different study rooms. For example, the Memorial Library is known for little distractions. The library is famous for its beautiful lake view. If you are the outdoorsy type and don't mind lakeside distractions, Paris at a Memorial Union can be the sweet spot for you. After this presentation, we will be sharing the slides with you. Please feel free to click the link on the slides to check out more study spaces options at UW-Madison. Secondly, jump around with 80,000 Badger fans at Camp Randall Stadium and from our 23 Big Ten varsity teams. Relax over live music and a stunning sunset on Madison's Street and experience the largest farmers market of its kind as you walk around Capitol Square. Seek out various involvement and learning opportunities that the Center for the First Year Experience provides. As a Badger, opportunities match your boundless imagination. Thirdly, career life. If you are looking that can support your educational pursuits and lifestyle while also gaining critical professional and personal skills, check out the UW-Madison student jobs. You will be able to access thousands of part-time employment opportunities both through UW-Madison as well as business and families within the local community. If you will be seeking full-time professional career opportunities, are the helpful resources to look at. Now, many of you are new to Madison. It's natural and important to make local connections and start building your Badger community. So, how to make new friends in Madison? Here are some advice. Firstly, there is simply no substitute for coming together with other students around a common activity or friendships tend to happen more organically. Of course, at UW-Madison, as I can think of, the Multicultural Student Center, our office, the International Student Services, and the Office of Inclusion Education are great resources for international students. These offices all offer dozens of programs, workshops, social events, and diverse resources for students. Actively connect with other students in class and other events are great places for you to connect with other peers, as well as to find your community and place at school. Thirdly, reach out to student organizations and Wisconsin Involvement Network, which we also call WIN. Studying at UW-Madison, you can find nearly 900 student organizations and countless events to participate, or even start a new one. The student organization is an ideal place to meet people who share the similar interests with you. To get involved, we suggest you to search the organizations that you are interested in. 2021, attending the ISS Organizational Fair and Spring 2021 on the University Organization. As we mentioned previously, the ISS Org Fair is happening next Wednesday, January 27th from 6 to 8 p.m. The university's Org Fair is in early February. These Org Fairs, you will get the opportunity to connect with the organizations that you are interested in working throughout your year and stay in touch with them once they are recruiting for new members. Stay tuned on your mail inbox and others, such as Facebook local events. Then you will be able to find interesting opportunities to participate in meaningful events on around campus. Under the current situation, though many events and activities have been moved from on-site to online, you would still get virtual engagement opportunities like what we are doing now. Next slide, please.
So before I share some advice on living with roommates, I'm curious to know if any of you have had this experience before. So please answer this next poll question. I believe the poll is already out. Have you ever shared a home with a roommate or someone outside of your family? So for many of you, this may be your first time living with a roommate outside of perhaps your own family. Hopefully, some of the tips I'm about to share will be helpful to you as you adjust to living in close quarters and developing a relationship with someone you have never met before. Firstly, make an agreement between you and your roommate when you first move in. A roommate agreement is a great way to ensure that both of you and your roommate are on the same page when it comes to expectations and responsibilities. Topics that you could discuss with your roommates are chores, quiet hours, guest policies, what items to share, not to share, and so on. Once there is something that you strongly against, sit down with your roommates and talk through the problem instead of ignoring it. Secondly, track the household expenses timely. Having monthly roommates meeting to discuss the household expenses and be clear about all the expenses that occurred in the month could be helpful. And lastly, get to know your roommates. I know some people do not really talk with their roommates except for requesting expenses. It is important to get to know your roommates and be respectful of each other. It is also nice to sometimes hang out and grab food together. Next slide, please. And personally, one of the biggest challenges that I have faced when I first came to the US was English. As a non-native speaker, the ways that Americans speak in daily life were very different from what I have been learning. Also, I have struggled to understand what is being discussed in the classrooms and was always working to catch up with the class. Here are some ways that I personally think helped me a lot, and I gathered some advice from my friends. First, try to engage in the campus activities, programs, and classes that are offered to international students. In the spring semester, there will be English-focused classes such as credit-bearing English courses through the ESL department and one-credit Wisconsin Experience Seminar. Also, ISS is offering multiple programs that were introduced earlier, such as Peace, Global Cafe, Friday Social Hours with ISS, and Global Badger Success Fridays. For spring semester, these are all online and easy to participate from your home. By participating in these programs, you will have more opportunity to meet people, listen and speak English. And also, you could learn English by listening to podcasts and watching English movies and TV shows. I like to play English podcasts while doing something like cooking or cleaning the room. There are many kinds of free podcasts you could find online, from educational to more fun ones like life hack, comedy, and stories. I like to use streaming service called Spotify, and here I have listed some of my favorite podcasts and TV series. I hope that you can find your favorite ones too. Listening and watching these may help your brain get used to listening to English and get familiar with commonly used words. And lastly, Don't be afraid of being judged for making mistakes or asking for help when you're struggling in class. Coming from a country where English is not first language, you might find it difficult to express your ideas with friends or in class. You might not feel comfortable to speak up with your own accent, or you may fear of being judged. One time, I was very nervous to speak up, but shared something in class. Then the professor thanked me for sharing because what I shared was eye-opening and opened up a meaningful discussion. As an international student, your background may be able to bring different perspectives in class, so do not be afraid to share your thoughts. Next slide, please. So studying in the US means that it may be difficult to visit home. And this is especially true now with the COVID-19 pandemic continuing. Here we would like to share some tips about how to overcome homesickness when you start missing your family, friends, beloved foods, and all the other things you left at home. As you adjust to your new home here in Madison, it is important to stay connected with your family back in your home country. But at the same time, you should keep looking for opportunity to make new friends. Therefore, finding a balance point to meet new people while staying connected with family is crucial. Here are some tips. Have regular calls and updates with family to let them know you're okay. Get out of your comfort zone to meet new people. Don previously shared some very good resources on how to make friends. Make some of your hometown dishes and share with your friends. And also stay positive. Find ways to relieve stress. It might be reading a book, taking a jog by the lake, or other activities. Focus on something you can accomplish. Keep healthy, not only your body, but your mind. And don't forget to praise and be proud of yourself for taking classes in a foreign language and studying in a different country. When you feel stressed, please give your brain a little break. You can watch movies and TV shows in your native language, or cook or go out to eat dishes from your home country if you can find them in Madison. Lastly, explore your surroundings. There are nice areas you can take a walk, like near Lake Mendota, Picnic Point, and state parks. Once it is safe, you can explore the city. There are many museums and local stores near the State Street. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Yuriko. Next, let's talk about some current events that are impacting your experience. The first one, COVID-19. UW-Madison takes the well-being of all university community members as highest priority, and our school is still closely monitoring the risks of the COVID-19 pandemic to our students, faculty, and staff. For the spring 2021 semester, in preparation for the start of class on January 25th, a Safer Badgers website is now available with information about campus testing, the Safer Badger app, and building access. The university has adopted new measures to enhance the safety of the campus community during the spring semester. These measures increase the scope and frequency of testing and during the spring semester, and these are all linked to access to campus. Proof of recent negative test results will be needed starting January 25th in order to access campus facilities and services. Besides the university's COVID-19 response website, if you would like to learn more about COVID-19's impact on international students at UW-Madison, we encourage you to check ISS's COVID-19 update website to learn more things to keep in mind while preparing for the new semester. Also, the COVID-19 pandemic has created ruptures within communities. Through the need to physically distance, the death of loved ones, and a rise in xenophobic and discriminatory incidents during this time. Regretfully, in the past, there has also been an increase in bias incidents on or near campus and online that has targeted our Asian, Pacific Islander, and Desi American student employees, particularly those from or perceived to be from China and East Asia. In response, as noted here in Chancellor Blank's message to the campus community last March, university leader that the racist behaviors and stereotyping of any kind are not tolerated at UW-Madison. Here, I would also like to share the message from the International Division to all of our international students, faculty, and staff that was announced on May last year. You are welcome here. Our campus thrives and prospers due to the richness of the perspective and insights that emerge through a diverse global community. You are not alone. We share the range of mixed emotions you may be experiencing: sadness, fear, concern, and outrage, as well as determination and resilience. There is no excuse for any hostile, hateful, and discriminatory treatment. Additionally, we have also listed out here several resources available to you during the COVID-19 period, should you need them. That's it for me, and now I'm going to hand it to Eureka.
So the second current event we would like to mention is Black Lives Matter movement. The Black Lives Matter movement emerged in the US in 2013, but 2020 was the year it took over the nation and reached across the world. The death of George Floyd at the hands of Minneapolis police in May 2020 urged protests not only in the city but all around the US. And those protests continued for weeks and months. In August 2020, Jacob Blake, a 29-year-old Black man, was left paralyzed from the waist down after a white police officer shot him 7 times in the back outside of an apartment complex in Kenosha, Wisconsin. It became yet another reason for people to keep taking to the streets. Sadly, 3 weeks ago, on January 5th, 2021, the Kenosha County Court ruled that the officer who shot Blake would not be charged. Outrage spread quickly after the murder of George Floyd, the shooting of Jacob Blake, and other injustice towards Black Americans in encounter with the police, rekindling the nationwide protests for racial justice. There have been Black Lives Matter demonstrations in nearly 550 places across the country, including Madison, and protests continued throughout summer 2020. Here are some websites that you can visit to learn more about this movement and social justice to support ongoing fight for racial justice as international students. Next slide, please. Also, earlier this week on Wednesday, Joe Biden was inaugurated as the 46th President of the United States, along with the Vice President Kamala Harris. Harris is the first female, African American, and Asian American Vice President, and the highest-ranking female elected in the U.S. history. For many Americans, Wednesday was a day of hope and happiness, marking a new chapter for the nation. However, in the days before inauguration, there was a major, unfortunate event at the U.S. Capitol that you probably heard about in the news. A large mob of rioters supporting former President Trump stormed the Capitol building to interrupt the Electoral College Board count by members of Congress and tried to overturn the result of the 2020 U.S. presidential election. During the riot, 5 people were killed, including a Capitol police officer. You're starting your studies at UW-Madison at a time when there have been recent major historic events, both good and bad. We want you to know that the riot at the Capitol was a dark day for the U.S. and an isolated event. It did not stop the progress of democracy. The US now has a new leader and is building a new administration. President Biden has spoken in the past of the value that international students bring to the US and outlined the ways that his administration plans to welcome students from abroad and encourage them to stay in the US after graduation. So in this new chapter of the Biden-Harris administration, we all hope for great things for international students and communities around the US over these next 4 years. Next slide, please. So I would like to share some notes I took from protest guidelines prepared by UW-Madison Police Department and UW-Madison Division of Student Affairs. Regardless of your immigration or citizenship status, you have constitutional rights. The right to free speech, to have a lawyer in criminal proceedings, the right to be protected from unlawful searches, and so on. Non-citizens are protected by the First Amendment in the US. Therefore, you have the right to assemble and express your views through protest. Here in the red square is the purpose and philosophy of protest guidelines. The University of Wisconsin-Madison strongly values free speech both in the statement of an idea and in the response to that idea. UW-Madison endeavors to educate students to become responsible citizens of the world who exercise critical thinking. However, protests and demonstrations that materially and substantially disrupt the rights of others to engage in or listen to expressive activities shall not be permitted and shall be subjected to sanction. Behavior will be evaluated on whether it is disruptive based on when, where, and how it occurs. Next slide, please. I have listed some examples of disruptive and non-disruptive behavior and potential consequences on the slide. It is also worth noting that the possible consequences if a student is found responsible for second violation of the Regent's policy during the student enrollment is suspension for a minimum of 1 semester. Any students who have been responsible for a disruption for a third time will be expelled per Regent policy. It is important to note that the suspension of expulsion from the university would have negative impact on your immigration record and could result in you having to depart the US. If you want to learn more about protest and activism and know your rights, I highly recommend that you check out the social justice learning resources on the ISS website. You can find these websites under the Get Involved tab on your homepage. Thank you for your attention during this presentation, and welcome to the Global Badger family.
Awesome. Thank you, Eureka and Dong, for your presentation and telling everybody about your experience as international students. So to kind of wrap everything up, we're going to do a fun Kahoot quiz. No pressure, just kind of a fun game to end our presentation. So before I get started with that, a couple of notes. You will need a smartphone, tablet, or other device like a laptop to join. There will be prizes for the top 3 winners, so please be sure to list your full given name and family name so we can get those prizes to you. This is a multiple choice quiz. Some questions will have multiple correct answers, but you only need to select one. So with that, I am going to stop sharing my screen for a second while I get this set up. share this again. Sorry, everyone. Okay, hopefully you all are able to see that screen now. So you'll just want to type in that game pin in order to log in on your device. And hopefully you can all see the screen.
Screen looks great, Stacy.
Okay, perfect. Awesome, looks like we've got one person joining. Okay, perfect, people are starting to join. Okay, I'll give a few more seconds for anyone else who wants to join in. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Okay, so first question, what date must I complete International Student Orientation and check-in by? Is it February 9th, as soon as possible, January 25th, or February 5th? Awesome, looks like most of you got that right. The correct answer is February 9th, or as soon as possible. All right. Awesome. Okay, next question. What is Teradata? Is it an international student advisor, your portal for ISS immigration support, where you can go to make an appointment, or where you submit ISS request forms? Perfect. Yes, this was one that had multiple correct answers. So if you said that it's your portal for ISS support, where you go to make an appointment, and or where you submit requests, those were all correct. Okay, so when you have a question related to your student visa status, where should you look first? USCIS, ISS website, on Teradata, or travel.state.gov? All right, yes. So we do want you to check the ISS website first. We have a ton of great information on there that can answer a lot of your questions. All right. Okay, where is the ISS office located? Are we in Bascom Hall, the Red Gym, Memorial Library, or Union South? All right, yes, we are in the Red Gym. All right, and how many credits are required for full-time enrollment at the undergraduate level? Is it 12, 1, 8, or 6? Awesome, yes. So at the undergraduate level, it's 12 credits. At the graduate level, it is 8. And as a quick reminder, right now, there is some flexibility with online courses due to COVID, but once COVID is over, there will be more restrictions again on the number of online courses you can take. Okay, question number 6. What should I do if I cannot enter the US for the spring semester? Contact your admitting unit, contact your ISS advisor, complete the leave of absence form, or contact your academic advisor. Awesome. Yes. So if this semester is your first semester, you'll want to contact your admitting unit. If fall was your first semester, you'll want to complete the leave of absence form. You can also contact your ISS advisor and your academic advisor to let them know your plans, but you will need to take action by either contacting admissions or doing the leave of absence form. All right, select one thing you need to do to maintain your student visa status. Maintain valid immigration documents, work only if authorized, enroll full-time, or know where the ISS office is. Awesome, yes, there are multiple correct answers for this, so maintain valid immigration documents, work only if authorized, or enroll full-time. Right, and where can I go to find ISS programs and events? Ask your advisor, the Get Involved page, contact the International Student Advisory Board, or visit the ISS office. Yes, so we have a lot of great programs and events, and the best place to start is the Get Involved page. You can also find information on our social media sites as well. Awesome. Okay, and what is one resource for COVID-19 updates on campus? The ISS COVID-19 website, the Safer Badgers app, Public Health Madison in Dane County, or the Center for Disease Control website. Yes, and if you said COVID-19 updates page or Safer Badgers app, that was correct. Okay, what is one way you can receive updates from ISS? Through our newsletters, our announcements page, social media sites, or visiting our office. Yes, so our newsletters, our announcements page, and our social media sites are great ways to receive updates from us. All right, last question. And what are some ways to get involved at UW-Madison? Participate in Wisconsin Union events, connect with Center for First Year Experience, join a student organization, or stay in contact with friends and family at home. Yes, the participating in Wisconsin Union events, connecting with CFYE, or joining an organization. Awesome. So we'll see our top 3 winners here. And yeah, thank you everyone for participating. We'll jot down the top 3 folks so we can get prizes out to everyone.
Thank you very much, Stacy, for leading us through the Kahoot quiz. That was great, fun.
No problem.
And congratulations to our top three finishers. But thank you to all who participated. We're here in the last 5 minutes of our scheduled time for International Student Orientation. I think we could answer a couple of questions, but we want to be respectful of your time. We know it's been a lot of listening today. So yeah, I guess we could take a couple minutes to answer any questions that have come in. Much beyond that, we will probably encourage you to use the tips and advice that you received today during the session, which you probably remember are to first start with our website, and if you can't find your answers there, to come to virtual drop-in advising on Tuesday or Wednesday, or send an information request or set up an appointment with your assigned advisor. Do we know if any questions have come in, Kathleen? Oh, here we go. Looks like Colleen has replied to some.
Yeah, I've been updating on some. There is one that I'd love to hear if Yuriko or Dong have any suggestions or tips on opening a bank account in the US.
Personally, I do not have a very specific suggestion, but based on what I know, most of my international student peers, they chose either Chase or US Bank as their first bank card in the US.
And if I may add one thing for opening a bank account, sometimes you will be asked for a social security number. It is not required that you have a social security number in order to open a bank account. And the only way that you would be eligible to apply for a social security number is if you have a job on campus.
Thank you, Sam. One thing I'll add as well is that there are a number of banks on and around campus. So look at proximity to you, your living quarters, where you'll be studying frequently. Anything like that really helps in being able to access and being able to go in and ask questions if you're ever curious. I would also suggest for you to look up the differences between a credit union and a bank. There are slight differences that might change your mind as to which institution to use. So I would also suggest, so that's a credit union or a regular bank. I might throw this next one to you, Morgan. As an international student, can they join legal demonstrations under the First Amendment right?
Yeah, thank you. I think that's a good question, and I feel like Yuriko and Dong in their section of the presentation, especially Yuriko, I think spoke to that. So yes, my understanding is yes, you can, but what we would really recommend is that, again, Yuriko mentioned this, but I would really recommend that you go to our website, that you go to the Get Involved tab, and you really check out the social justice learning resources. We have a number of pages that a previous assistant director, that was her passion, she created those wonderful resources, and you can find out a lot of information there about how to participate in protests, any FAQs about how that could potentially impact your visa status if you're arrested, for example, information about knowing your rights going into those situations. So that's really a great place to start, I think.
Any other questions from folks? If you do, as always, feel free to send your ISS advisor an information request. come to virtual drop-in advising, and we'll be happy to answer those for you.
Thank you. We're at 11 o'clock then, and I would just like to say some final words before we end our session. And so allow me to do that. I want to thank you all for making a little ISS and UW-Madison history with us today by being our first spring cohort to welcome and orient virtually. We admire the bravery, hope, and brilliance each of you embody as you begin your journey studying at UW and living in Madison during this time of so much change. Naturally, this is an exciting new chapter of your life, and you should feel proud of all you've achieved so far to be able to be here starting this adventure of a lifetime. There will also be times in the next few weeks when you will struggle. With all the changes you will be experiencing, you might feel stressed and overwhelmed, lonely and homesick, and you might even start to question whether it was the right choice to come here, whether you belong here. So I want to leave you with 3 pieces of advice to help you get through the hard days. Excuse me. Like the title of the famous Michael Jackson song, "You Are Not Alone." And I'm not going to sing that, but you might know that song. I'm a horrible singer. You can Google search Michael Jackson, "You Are Not Alone." Many other students from around the world and the US will be experiencing similar changes and challenges. We at ISS are here for you when you need help. We have programs we shared with you today that can help you meet new people, stay healthy, succeed academically, and plan for your future. And if we're not the experts to help you with your problem or your question, we will always do our best to connect you with the right people on campus so you get the support you need. Number 2, you belong here. You have the brilliance, the imagination, and the determination that brought you across the globe to one of the world's best public universities in the middle of winter in Wisconsin, which is White Walker weather, as I call it, if you're a Game of Thrones fan like me. Though it seems like we're actually having kind of a mild winter so far. I don't want to knock on wood there. You bring with you your own unique story, experiences, and dreams. I encourage you to share your original voice inside and outside of the classroom, listen deeply, question your peers and professors, and also build bridges between yourself and others whenever you can. You belong here, and by being active in the campus community, you can help others feel a sense of belonging too. And point number 3, embrace your inner badger. You are now a badger, and as animals, they have the reputation of being stubborn, fierce, and tenacious. They never give up. So when things get tough for you, as they inevitably will at some point during your time at UW, grit your teeth like Bucky and tell yourself, I'm not giving up today. I'm a badger, I'm not alone, and I belong here. So once more, that's, you're not alone, you belong here, and be a true badger. Be fierce, stubborn, and tenacious, and never give up. We are so happy you're joining our campus community. Thank you again for listening in today, and good luck with your first week of classes that starts next Monday. You'll do wonderfully, and we'll be cheering for you. On Wisconsin, Global Badgers.